Hello and welcome. I am Scrapperlock. This is City of Heroes, soloing the Stalker. So I'm back. I've decided to start up a Let's Play again. We'll see how far we go with it. This Let's Play is inspired by someone. I'm not going to name the channel, not because I don't want to give them clicks, but because I'm very concerned since I'm going to be kind of disagreeing a little bit with what the person said, that this could lead into some sort of a YouTube flame war between two very small channels, which really is not a good idea. Um, I also haven't watched the other person's playlist extensively enough to really know a lot about him, so I just don't want to I just don't want to get into any negative like flames and mudslinging and that kind of stuff. I wouldn't personally mudsling, but we know these sorts of things can happen when people get their noses bent out of shape. So I'm not going to mention the channel, and hopefully I won't provide enough clues that anybody will be able to definitively say which channel it is. So anyway, the person I'm talking about expressed in one of their City of Heroes videos recently that they didn't think the Stalker was a very good soloing class. And I would have said the Stalker is just about the best archetype to solo in the whole game. And I want to show you why. Now, I have soloed the Stalker from level 1 to level 50 on the Rebirth server. This is Homecoming. On the Rebirth server with only single origin enhancements. And we're going to talk about that a little bit as we go. But it's been a few years. It's a different server. Those videos are quite long in the tooth now. So I figured I would start another series. And the goal of this series is to showcase just how great Stalkers are to solo. Now, of course, it might backfire because you might look at what I'm doing and going, I don't want to play like that. But that, of course, is up to you. So we have here Dark Phantom. So what I've chosen for her is the Dark Melee set, because I absolutely love that set, and the Energy Aura secondary, which I absolutely love, and I love the combo. I did this combo with Quintessence Lass, similar idea. So this character, I don't remember the exact origin of Quintessence Lass, but this character was working in a Paragon University physics lab as a graduate student, and they were studying phantom dark energy, and she got caught in an explosion of equipment, and now she can manipulate dark energy, and she calls herself Dark Phantom. I did try to get the name Phantom Lass. It was taken. Didn't like any of the other options, so I went with Dark Phantom, which I actually think I like better than Phantom Lass. Anyway, since it indicates the Dark Phantom energy that she is going to be using as a power. I made her blue and black just for she's dark, but I gave her a little bit of red just to add a little bit of color on the belt. I tend to like dual colored characters like this. I love capes, so I gave her a cape. And we're ready to go. Science background. And we're going to go ahead into the tutorial, and we're going to go into Outbreak and enter the game. Outbreak is the best of the three tutorials in my opinion, and so that's what we're going to do. Now I'm going to need to set this character up, and one of the things I do want to point out, I don't know if this is just me or if they do this a lot, but for some reason every time I've made up a new character recently, it's disabled XP, and I come out of this tutorial at level 1 not understanding why. So we got a bunch of badges, and what I'm going to do now is pause it. I'll set everything up. Then we come back, we'll talk a little bit more, and we'll start the tutorial. Alright, so we are back, and I've set up the UI the way I like it. Map is over here. Any set it and forget it toggle powers, like the hide power, which we're about to engage, will go over on this sidebar. You get new sidebars by clicking this plus, and then we're going to close it, but you can drag it around wherever you want, right? If you move it, it will change shape. You can change it to be, you know, a 4x3 if you want. But I like vertical over here for all of my set it and forget it toggles, or you turn them on, you just leave them on. One of the things I don't have up yet are the combat attributes. Somebody asked me in one of my old videos, and I described this, but I want to show it here in case that person happens to be watching. You click powers, you click combat attributes, and they show up here. For this character, we're going to want to look at defense, because she is a defense-based character with energy aura, and energy aura has special effect based, right, damage type based defenses, smashing and lethal. usually go together, so we're only going to show the smashing defense. Lethal defense will be the same value. Fire and cold go together. We're going to show the fire defense. Cold will have the same value. Normally, you would just monitor energy because usually energy and negative have the same value, but because this character is energy based, she will have slightly more energy defense. So we're going to monitor those separately. And then there's also sonic and toxic defense, which very few sets get much defense against. I think we get a little toxic later on. We also want to monitor our status effects. Hold protection is going to be the same as just about everything else. And then the last thing I personally like to monitor is our last 2 hit chance, so I can grumble about all the whiffing when we miss our targets. So that's looking pretty good. I think it's the way we want it. And one of the things I want to point out is you might as well take a good look at Dark Phantom, because we're now going to engage the high power. The other thing I'm going to try to do, guys, somebody mentioned to me that when you're in the interior buildings and you rotate the camera, I'll show you here, it moves so that you don't like get inside of a wall, right? And so when you're inside, this can cause a lot of camera jerk, which I'm completely immune to. I don't pay any attention to it, but apparently some people watching got kind of vertigo from it. So when I'm inside, I will try to remember to zoom in so that our feet are right at the bottom of the screen, and hopefully that will be a happy medium that will work. I think this is too close. I can't do that, but we'll come in about this close, and hopefully there won't be as much of this sort of movement of the camera in and out like that as I rotate around the view. But while I'm outside, zoomed out because I want to be able to see as much as possible. So I'll try to remember to do it. I can't promise I will. I normally just stay as zoomed out as possible, and so that I can see as much of the battlefield as I can. There may be times, even inside, where I'm going to need to do that to figure out who to attack next. I'll apologize ahead of time. I'm not trying to make anybody sick to their stomach, but that's kind of the way I always play. So we're going to go ahead and just take missions. I'm not going to read any of them because we've already done this on all of my other characters, so it's not something I'm going to spend a lot of time on. As we go, I do want to talk a little bit about what my goal is here and why I'm making this Let's Play in more detail. As I say, I was watching this other person who I will not name. And again, I'm not trying to take views away from him. I actually kind of would like it if we could share audiences and people would be able to see 2 different perspectives. But I just feel like there's too high of a risk that we could end up in some sort of an internet flame war, and I really don't want to do that. So, and I don't want this person to feel like I'm sniping at them or what have you, because I'm not. I just simply feel like I have a very different perspective on this. I don't even think disagreement is the right word, because I watched some video of how he plays, and he very clearly plays the game very differently from how I do. Well, he plays similarly in some ways and differently in other ways, and, you know, so it'd be sort of like my old guild leader, Nina, who was talking about how many billion influence you have to have in order to make a farming build so that you could farm more influence to get more billions of influence in order to make an incarnate trial character that has the right sets and the right gear. And that's not the wrong way to play City of Heroes. A lot of people would argue it's the right way. It's just not the way I play, and it isn't fun for me, so I don't do that. So my guess is that this other player just has fun in ways that I don't, and I have fun in ways that he doesn't, so it's not really a disagreement, but I do want to emphasize how well I think Stalkers work. And the first reason I think they're great is because of the hide power. I'm standing here amidst 2 what we call aggro, aggressive mobs, enemies. A mob is a mobile object, right? So that's one mob. This is another mob. It sometimes confuses people because they'll think a whole group of guys, like over here, is a mob, as in a mob, an angry mob, you know. But mobs are mobile objects, and each of these mobs is aggro. It's aggressive, right? And so if I attack them, they will fight back. But normally, if you walk up to an aggro mob, it will attack as you get within range. As soon as it sees you, it will turn and attack. But because we have the hide power and we have this word hidden here, we are basically completely proof against any enemy detections If you look at the stats, we have plus 1500% stealth radius on ourself. So we are completely unable to be detected except by some very special villains in the very high levels. Nobody can see you. So one of the best things about the Stalker is you can pick your target, you can settle in, you can decide what power you want to use. We only have one right now, but we'll have multiple later. We'll have an assassin strike that does a huge amount of damage, and then you can attack from the hidden position at the time and place and the target of your choosing. No other archetype is able to be that selective and that safe when attacking enemies. Now, if you turn the hide power off so that it's not hidden, what normally happens when you walk up to some aggro mobs is this, right? As soon as you walk up, they both start attacking you. You also don't get a critical hit automatically on the first shot if you don't attack from a hidden state. So you do more damage attacking from hide, but you also get the ability to decide who you're going to fight and when. A normal character coming this deep into the outbreak section here, fighting enemy mobs, and then running out among these guys would take attacks. Now you could run away, and these police drones would delete anybody trying to come through the fence. But in a larger zone where there are lots of enemies, you could end up having a lot of enemies that you have to fight your way out, and you might even get damaged or knocked out because you're trying to avoid all of the angry enemies, right? Whereas with a Stalker, you just go wherever you want and do whatever you want. Alright, so this is our quest now. We have to defeat 2 of them. Crit 1, and then we just smack the other one around a little bit. So, reason number 1 Stalkers are so great is the hide power. Nobody else can control aggro against their solo character as well. Now, if you start talking about being in a group, Stalkers cannot control group aggro the way a tanker can, where they can taunt people, the way a controller can, where they can paralyze people or put them to sleep or whatever. Obviously, a Stalker cannot do any of that. But if you're by yourself, Stalkers can always decide when to start the battle, except for programmed events in missions like ambushes, which automatically know where you are. Or if you're leading an NPC and you have to turn the hide power off in order to lead the NPC around, those are circumstances in which the Stalker cannot use the hide power to their advantage. But it happens pretty rarely, and 90%, more than 90% of the time, you can do a mission in any order you want. So even when you have like kidnapped NPCs that you're trying to rescue, one of the things you can do is go and stalk the whole map, wipe the whole map, come back and rescue the NPC. You can't always do that if you aren't a Stalker, because getting past the kidnappers might aggro them, right? So Stalkers are really good at managing their aggro and making sure that they're only getting attacked and they're only getting into combat when they want to. No other archetype is as good at that in the game. There are individual power sets that may allow it, like in Control you have invisibility that's pretty good at doing the same kind of thing. But for the whole archetypes, there's no archetype where the entire archetype is able to do that much, shall we say, prep work. And this is a great example. Look at this. So we have 3 guys here, we have 2 guys here, and then there's going to be some guys past, right over here. So I can attack them in any order I want. Now these guys are dangerous. There are 3 of them. I'm only level 1. So what we might want to do here is attack these 2 guys without aggroing them until at least we start fighting. And then Flower Knight, who is our ally, is going to pull out her bow and arrow, and she can start shooting them and help me out, right? If you're a normal character coming in here, you would have to fight these guys first. We have to pull them or something like that. But because we're a stalker, I can come over here, right, and assassinate this guy, essentially, right, and then fight this guy. Now, the other guys might have seen me, but Flower Knight, as soon as this guy goes down, will help me, right? So now when we fight these other guys, she will be able to help me. So now he saw me, but Flower Knight is my buddy, and she's going to start shooting them. You see, she just shot an arrow. She's right there to help me out. So now it's 2 on 3 instead of 1 on 3. Again, there really aren't any other characters who could do that even at this level, right? At higher levels, you might be able to do something similar with teleport other if you get that as a pool power and that kind of thing. But as a stalker, it really cuts down the risk because I can decide when to start the fight. Now, hard to do with an NPC because she'll start fighting even when I don't want to. But when you're by yourself, soloing, right, and you don't have an NPC with you being dumb, you decide when the fight starts. It never starts unless you want it to, and you always can start it to your advantage. It allows you to sit there and go, what inspirations do I want to use before I start? Do I want to add damage? Do I want to add accuracy? It allows you to decide who you're going to hit first. I want to start with the lieutenant. I want to start with the boss. I want to start with the minions. You can do some of this with pulling, but it's much easier with a stalker because there's no chance, again, unless you have an NPC, there's no chance that the battle is going to start until you're absolutely ready. And you can't, and you won't accidentally aggro things that happen to see you because they can't. Where are the other thugs? Are we bugged? Oh, there's somebody. Hey, buddy. Oh, this is an ambush. Okay. I didn't know these guys did an ambush. I thought this just, I just did this mission the other day and they didn't do an ambush. So ambushes, yeah, you can't hide because they'll see you automatically. But it's fine. What's going on here? Is there another ambush coming? Find the formula and defeat the thugs. Didn't we find the formula? Oh, okay. I guess we did. We've leveled up, and we're now level 2. So now let's talk a little bit about this other player and the other player's playstyle. So the other player talked about several things that I found very odd. For example, he said that he felt like scrappers, not stalkers, are glass cannons, and I feel like that's demonstrably untrue. Scrappers have one of the best defenses in the game, other than tankers and maybe brutes. So, I mean, if you look when you're building characters on a scale of 1 to 10, it gives scrappers a 10 offense and a 7 defense, and it gives brutes 9 offense and 8 defense. So they're pretty close, and it gives stalkers a 10-7 also. So I don't feel like that means you're a glass cannon at all. Let's train up to a new power level, and we're going to take Shadow Maul, my favorite attack in the game. It's probably dumb to take it this early, but I love Shadow Maul, so we're going to take it. We don't need this. We'll move this over here, I guess. So we have flight for now. We're not going to talk to Father Time. What we're going to do instead is... Oh, let's grab that. There's a badge right there. And now we're going to go to... And there's this thing here. Click that. And now we're going to go into Paragon City Hall and talk to the science advisor, who will give us our first set of missions. So yeah, this player who was talking about characters seemed to think that compared to blasters, scrappers are glass cannons. I've never heard anybody say that. Normally, people say that compared to anybody, blasters are glass cannons. Okay, so let's do available missions. This is going to probably be against the Vajalock. That science usually goes against the Vajalocks. So those guys can be pretty tough at low levels. However, we do have negative energy as our dark energy as our primary, and that does about half smashing, but also half negative. And I don't think Vajalocks have any special defenses against negative energy. Now I'm going to zoom out while we're outside, but I will try to remember to zoom back in when we're inside. Oh, went too far. I know it was really funny in the comments for one of the commenters. I guess sort of jokingly said that that the other player is a very different UI setup from what I have, and he said your UI is giving me anxiety or something like that. But he was joking. I mostly leave the UI elements pretty much where they were at launch. But obviously that's just a matter of taste, right? You just do whatever you want. Okay, so this is a 4 enemy spawn. This might be very tough. We might have to run from this. But we'll see. Yeah, we're going to have to run. Because I just missed him. If I'd hit him, we'd be okay. But running pulls us away from the cadavers, at least for a few seconds. Oh, I forgot to zoom in. We're going to have to run. Yep, that 4 guys and a miss like that. At level 2. Yellow, 4, and I missed him. If I'd hit him, we would have been okay, because they were grouped up. I would have hit them all with dark melee, and we would have been fine. But unfortunately... Where's rest? Unfortunately, we missed. So let's just rest and we'll go back in. I guess that didn't make my case that Stalkers are great at soloing, but I would bet you most level 2 characters with no inspirations other than a single heal and a damage would have trouble against 4 yellow Vajalocks, especially if they missed their big opener. Alright, we're hidden now, so they shouldn't see me. And this guy should go down in 1 shot. There we go. Vajalocks are also insanely accurate. They hit you constantly. I don't know why. They don't have a higher to hit theoretically, but look at how much I'm getting hit. It's just ridiculous. But we should be okay now. Alright. Try to stay zoomed in here. Okay. Wow, look at the size of these spawns. So one of the things I noticed that this other player was doing as a blaster, right? He's playing a blaster, and he was fighting. I can't remember what kind of mobs he was fighting, but he was for 35th level. He was at +0, right? And he was saying how great blasters were to solo, and I thought, well, that sounds good, but when I was a Stalker on the Rebirth server at level 35, I was fighting +2s. Right, my missions were set to +2. So that doesn't make me a better player, but I'm not sure that I buy the idea that an AT is better at soloing if you can't if you're playing at a lower level. Right? Like if it were better than soloing than the Stalker, then I should have been playing at +0 and the blaster should have been at +2. Right? Now I will say one of the similarities between this guy and me is he was pretty well trying to run at 0 risk, right? That is to say he was trying to, take each mob one at a time, each spawn one at a time, and let's see here, let's do this. pulling back like this kind of thing, right? Separating enemies. You see how much they hit you? So accurate. And I miss them a lot. Man. Fortunately, the cadavers are stupid. And one of the things I forgot to do was get the Nemesis Staff. You see I got hit again. And again. Meanwhile, I'm constantly missing him. Let's take a look at the hit rolls. The cadaver hits me. He had a 40% chance and rolled an 11. Cadaver hits me. He had a 40% chance and rolled a 20. The cadaver hits me. He had a 40% chance and rolled an 8. Right? So he rolled 3 times D100 and rolled 20, 8, and 11. So it's not that they are insanely accurate. It's that they just seem to be insanely lucky. But yeah, I forgot the Nemesis Staff, so we'll have to go grab that, and I'll show you where that is. I don't really use resistance that much, so yes, it also spawns of 4 are tough. If you hit, you're fine, right? And notice that I've got an 89% chance to hit, so I should be hitting quite a bit. But the problem is that I was missing more than they were, even though I had twice as high a chance to hit that they do. So I don't know. Alright. So go back to our contact. And we also got to do 2 things. So first of all, let's grab this badge over here. First of all, I want to go change my difficulty to make sure that we're getting fighting bosses. So we're fighting our current security level 1 hero. We do fight bosses. We do not fight archvillains. That is what we want. And then where am I looking? I'm in the wrong place. I'm looking for Atlas. I was thinking that that pedestal was this pedestal over here. We have the start vendor, which used to be the pay-to-win vendor. Show me your wares, and then we go into prestige powers, attacks, and we're going to get the Nemesis Staff, which is just an extra range attack that can help us out for now until we get our powers in. Okay, now we're going to go talk to our contact. Oh, sorry guys, I zoomed out again, didn't I? So you can see we're not as zoomed out as outside, but I guess what this one viewer was saying is if you stay a little zoomed in like this, it helps with it not constantly changing the perspective. I'll see how it goes. I haven't generally played this zoomed in, so we'll see. Let's take the history lesson. We got a bunch of, we got some enhancers that we could possibly use, right? Whoops, that's not what I wanted. I want this. Let's see. We don't need anything that's level 2 we're not going to use, but level 5 we can use. So the rule with enhancements is that you can use them if they are within 3 levels of you. We are currently 2nd level, but we're about to hit 3rd. That means that all the level 2 ones would be a level below us and would be starting to get weaker. Right, so the way enhancements work is this is a single origin enhancement, so it only works for your origin. Ours is science, so only science characters can use it. They're the strongest of the regular enhancements, unless you get into the crafting part of the game, which we might do a little bit, but we'll see. And a single origin enhancement that's your level, so if you're level 2 and it's level 2, would be 33% increase in whatever it does. So this is red one is damage, but because we're 3 levels below it, it's better than what we can normally use. It's the highest we can use. It's a 38% improvement. So our damage goes from 18 to 25 for this attack. Okay, so let's go ahead and read the Atlas plaque, and then we'll come back. I think all we have to do is read the plaque. And then go see him. Do we have his phone number yet? We don't, so we'll go talk to him. Eventually your contacts will give you their cell phone number and you can call them. It's really funny to think about this when the game came out in 2004. I didn't even have a cell phone. A lot of people didn't. I got my first cell phone, which was a flip phone from T-Mobile, a little one, and I thought it was like the coolest thing ever. And that was in 2006, I think. I think it was 06. I remember there was a mall by me, and there were these T-Mobile guys who were like, "Anybody want to try T-Mobile? Anybody want to try T-Mobile?" And so I was walking past the guy, and it was one of these like kiosks, and he was hawking, And I walked past, and he was like, "Hey, buddy, you want to try T-Mobile?" And I walked up to him, and I pulled mine out of the little holster. Remember they used to have holsters that you put on your belt? I pulled mine out, and I showed it to him. It said T-Mobile on it. He was like, "Oh, great. Want to upgrade?" And I'm like, "I just bought this 6 months ago." No. Yeah, my cell phone right now, which is an iPhone, is probably 4 years old. My best friend upgrades every year, I think, but I don't do that. Mostly because I don't want to just deal with having to move everything onto the new phone. It's a hassle. I mean, a lot of it's automated, but there's also quite a bit of a hassle to it as well. Alright, so we're back in the sewers. We're back fighting Vajaloks. And these guys are blue cons, so they shouldn't be hard at all. There's still 4 in every spawn. Standard in City of Heroes is 3. So the way City of Heroes works is all missions are scaled to your level, right? Unless something weird is happening. So this is a level plus 0 mission, which means it's a level 2 mission because we are a level 2 character, right? And we're going to level up very soon, but that's the default. And it also says times 0 players. It means no more than us. So this is the normal way City of Heroes worked when the game came out. Is it scanned your party size when you walked into a mission, and it created enemies of the level of your party and for the current number of people in your party when you walked in. So I walked in as a level 2 party with 1 person, therefore it is going to scale the mission to that. The standard way that City of Heroes is scaled is that 3 white con minions that are your level are equivalent to, considered a fair fight for 1 player character. Reality is that they, hang on, I want to get rid of broadcast here. The reality is that they don't actually provide a huge challenge, except at the very lowest levels. And most of the time, by the time you're, 15th, 20th level, certainly by the time you're in the mid-20s, your level enemies that are equal to you become a little easy. Now what I'm doing here is using inspirations. These guys are work like potions in a medieval role-playing game, and they temporarily buff you. We also have buffs that we got from leveling up. What I'm doing is I'm not using them because I need them. I'm using them because they aren't the ones I want. I have a standard, shall we call it a kit, that I use in inspirations with a melee character, which is to have, eventually we'll have 5, a row of 5, and several rows of 5. Yellow, which is increased accuracy. Red, which increases damage. Then a blue next to it, which increases endurance. I don't bother with that at low levels because we rarely run out of endurance when you're this low. Then a green, which is a heal, and purple, which is a dodge, essentially. Helps you avoid damage. I don't generally use the proper names for them, which is insight, enrage, luck. I usually call them yellows, reds, purples, and greens, and so forth. Or I'll call this a defense buff or whatever. In City of Heroes, there are two types of quote-unquote defenses. Defense is a power that makes you harder to hit, and resistance is a power that makes it so that you take less damage from a hit. So now you see one of the nice things about this Stalker is I can look around what's coming. Okay, so what do I want to do here? I feel like this guy is going to aggro no matter what. But maybe if I stay around the wall from him, he won't. We'll try it. Yeah, so he didn't aggro to me. Pretty good. Right, so the nice thing about the Stalker is you can really manage that well. Now we're going to wait. You want to wait till the word hidden comes up, and that hides you. If you walk up without it, they'll see you. All right, now we can start with this Reaper. I usually try to start with them specifically because they have the ability to kind of control, manipulate, and make the cadavers smarter. So the cadavers are much stupider without the Reapers present, or Mortificators, which are kind of Reapers on steroids. They're Reapers, but they're lieutenant rank. The ranks of enemies in this game are minion. There are things weaker than minions, but minions, 3 minions is equal to 1 hero. Lieutenants, a single lieutenant of your level and a minion is equal to 1 hero. And then a boss, which is tougher, and they used to say you can beat a boss solo with inspirations, with the right inspirations, and then you have elite bosses and arch villains. All right, so we're going to need probably defense and accuracy here to make sure that we take these guys out, because they, look at this, still hitting me like crazy. The thing is, if they're going to roll, gotta pull away. If they're going to roll 11s and 20s to hit, it doesn't matter how much defense I have, they're still going to hit me, because an 11 will hit almost anything, right? This 18 means we're subtracting 18 from their chance to hit. We know that without this running, they had about, well, let's see. The cadaver has a 35% chance to hit with this, right? But if they're going to roll a 15 and they're going to roll a 9, that 35% is not necessarily helping me, right? We're hidden now. We should be able to come back and do a crit on one of these guys. And that's good. And then we'll just finish him off. And then we will smack this guy around. And there we go. Alright, we don't need endurance. I usually like to put the green over there. By keeping the inspirations kind of in the same place, regardless of which character I use, it just makes it easier for me to remember where everything is and automatically click on what I need to click on. If I move things around with different characters, I would have a very hard time with that, right? Because I would be trying to do whatever I would do with Silver Phoenix when I'm playing Dark Phantom or something like that. And I wonder, since I played Silver Phoenix and Dark Phantom, how many times I'm going to call this character, or the other one, Dark Phoenix. It's a character from Marvel. Okay. So the nice thing is, with that Dark Shadow Maul, which is that bam, 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 bam power, it is a cone, and it will hit multiple enemies if they're close to each other. You know, that guy was not close enough. There's 2 of them here. I didn't even see them behind the Reaper. So one of my goals is hopefully to show that Stalkers are eminently soloable. Oh, I didn't wait till I hid. hopefully show that they're not hard to solo. I hope I show they're fun to solo. Now I will say, right, this is level 2, or well, 3 now. You're not going to see a lot of difference in different archetypes at this level. Right? It can't happen because you don't have any powers yet. We only have a couple powers, 2 attack powers, and we don't really even have defense, we just have hide. Now you are seeing the benefits of hide, hopefully. So that's visible right away, but you're not going to really see how Stalkers solo until we're like, in the 20s. Now, one thing this other person did say, I'm going to grab some badges while we're here. One thing this other person did say that I just want to be clear about, like, he was sort of saying, well, maybe the Stalker is good at soloing when you have all your sets in, but I'm not playing with sets. Like, I don't play with sets either. And again, if you go back and watch Tiger Strike, who is the Stalker I played on Rebirth, I just use single origin enhancers on her for 2 reasons. First, she was my first character on the Rebirth server, so I didn't have any banked influence from anybody. And second, because she was my first character on the server and I wanted to save up some influence to bankroll other characters, I tried to... what's going on here? Oh, somebody's just spamming. I tried to save up influence by using single origin enhancers instead of trying to play the marketplace, so that I would have influence to use on my next character, which was, I don't know, Nightmare Lass or something. Okay, so we can add 2 slots to our powers. So the way this works is every single power has at least 1 enhancement slot. They come with that. You can add up to 5 more to get 6 total. So for some powers, you want to have 6 slots if you can use 6 enhancements in there. But the other thing to remember is the way they've sort of tuned the game is that you can only put 3, realistically put 3 of the same type of enhancement in if we're not talking about sets. After that, there's diminishing returns. You can put 6 in there if you want, but it's no better than having like 3.5, so nobody bothers to do it. So we're going to want to add slots to a lot of our powers. I'm going to eventually want to put slots in health and stamina. I know a lot of people don't do that, but I do, because I hate having endurance problems. And who doesn't want to heal faster? But it does cost a couple slots. 2 each. 3 total. Don't bother slotting hide, because you can't really do anything with hide. It doesn't cost endurance. You can enhance the stealth radius, and there's no point to enhancing a 1.8% buff. The most you could do is get it up to about 2.8%, which is not worth it when you consider what else you could do with those slots. But Shadow Maul is an awesome power. I think I'm going to double slot that. And away we go. So Shadow Maul is going to get 6. We'll have 3 damage, and then like an accuracy, a recharge, and an endurance reducer or something on it. We now have a few more inspiration slots, which is pretty cool. And if we look at our enhancements, they're all level 2, so we're going to get rid of them. I don't really like slotting in enhancements that are my level or even below at the low levels, because you just level up so fast. How long has this been going? 43 minutes. Okay, so I think this is probably a good place to stop. Let's go complete our mission, and then we will stop for this episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I hope you'll stick around for the solo Stalker. I do want to say you shouldn't expect a lot of ranting about things like role-playing games and stuff the way I do in my other videos. I've already done that, and honestly, because I'm not playing D&D anymore, I'm not really part of that whole controversy network, because it's really Wizards of the Coast that was generating all the controversies we were ranting about. So since I'm not playing D&D anymore, I don't generally notice it and don't have anything to really say. So let's remove that because we have it over here. All right, folks, we're level 3. We will go past this in the next episode. Until then, I am Scrapperlock, and this has been City of Heroes.